And good morning, everyone. Dwayne here. Hi. Trying to make sure the sound and the video and all that is working correctly. Welcome to the Radical of Math. It's been a minute, and that's because I've been going through some things called life. So, some quick updates. So, first of all, if you've not seen it on my main YouTube channel, All About the Gyro, I announced that I have been diagnosed with level 1 autism. Most people refer to it as Asperger's. And so, been going through the beginnings of what's going to be a pretty long-term process. It's definitely going to be some lifestyle changes, but I will say it's answered a lot of questions and it has opened some new ones. So I've been actually, as part of it, working through this book here as part of my treatment. So really been taking my time getting into it, really trying to deal with some of the things that I've dealt with for nearly half a century. But all in all, I'm doing okay. Secondly, I have a trip planned over to England in the first part of October. And so I'm looking forward to not only filming some content, I'll keep that a surprise for now, but I think some of you will like it. As you see, the computer, I'm looking at bulk newsprint, but I'm looking at the 9x12. The 18x24 experiment. So I happen to have just an example. So there's my little board. This may be too big. This is still the smooth surface stuff from PyCon, which is a subsidiary of Dixon Ticonderoga. Try to say that 10 times fast. So, but today's commentary, I want to talk about kind of my response to what both the Honest Torus and Mr. Cromwell of City Tutoring Math talked about AI and mathematics. And here is my view, and it's not jaundiced, it's just grounded in that thing called reality. And it comes down to simply this. AI right now is the well-intentioned kid that knows of something and it knows the what, when, where, but still has a lot of struggles with how and why as it relates to mathematics. I would say, I would go so far to say that AI right now in the field of math is an overpowered, glorified graphing calculator. And that's about it. The thing about AI that does well is it can brute force certain mathematical problems. But a human would never do it this way because of the time cost. So let me give you an example. Determinants. So a 2x2 determinant can be solved algorithmically. The same applies to a 3x3 matrix and correction determinant. But once you get to 3x3, you have some options. So only for 3x3 is where you can repeat the first two columns and just multiply these 3 products and multiply the other 3 products and you subtract them and you carry on. Instead, often they send you down the route of cofactors and minors. Because once you get to a 4x4 or higher, they expect you to use cofactor expansion, which is dumb. So let me give you a brief example, and you can see where AI for its quote-unquote usefulness actually falls short because it lacks intuition. Ask AI to calculate a 5x5 determinant, and then ask a student who is going through even elementary linear algebra to calculate a 5x5 determinant, and what you will find out is this clear dichotomy. So let me explain. Matter of fact, I'm going to use my board here. So if you have a 5x5 determinant, so that's 25 data values inside a determinant. Most of your AI, if you were to look at this right here, most of your AI will do it through cofactor expansion. And so what it will do is it will simply start doing the first cofactor expansion, and then it does the second cofactor expansion, and so forth. So it starts doing cofactor, cofactor, cofactor. And so the issue is that if you keep doing this and you go, oh, well, 4x4, I need to cofactor those determinants, you have 20 of these calculations you have to do. Now, for AI, that's not a problem. It has enough working memory to calculate this. We humans do not. And that is one of the big differences between AI and humans is we as humans would look at that 5x5 determinant and we would apply the property where, okay, if we rewrite this determinant in either upper or lower triangular form, all we have to do now is multiply the values down the diagonal and we have the determinant. So IT brute forces this. Humans, we manipulate it into a form where it's a simpler algorithm. And that's a very important distinction to make because another area where AI is right now divergent on how to solve and to explain why it does it is trigonometric problems. So one of the Let's Do Some Math videos was a giant trig reduction involving tangent. So I gave that problem to multiple AI engines. Only one of them could solve it at the time, and this was 2 months ago, mind you, and that was Grok. Grok could solve it. But the other issue was the how and why. When you read the explanation, this leads to the second issue with AI versus human, and that is, okay, you can present a solution, but do you know why it's that solution? And AI doesn't have intuition. Humans have intuition. And if that video shows anything, it's the fact that you had to have enough intuition to introduce a substitution, as in defining a variable for tan x, so you can get into an algebraic expression so you can manipulate it. Some of the AIs that problem was given to it couldn't reduce tangent of 3x. It just says, nope, I can't do that. As in, it didn't have enough, quote, common sense to go, well, tangent 3x is really tangent of the quantity 2x plus x, and then I'm going to use the addition formula for tangent. It could not make that simple step to get the larger gain. It tried to brute force it, and it couldn't do it. And that leads to the third issue I have. And that is, as some of you know, I've been very critical on calculator usage. And AI is now, for a lot of people, the free calculator. If I'm Texas Instruments, I'm concerned. If I'm Casio, I'm concerned. If I'm HP, I'm not as concerned because I have more diversity in my product line. But for TI and Casio, where a lot of their product is calculators, this is a big issue. Because as AI continues to make progress, and it will make progress just at a slower rate than I think people are willing to admit. As in right now, 95% of generative AI initiatives are failing at companies because we're seeing all of the AI slop. That's the word they're coming up with. It's slop, it's garbage. In the math world, math being both an accurate and a precise science has no tolerance for this. Yes, the recent disclosure that with some heavy duty programming that an AI deep mind specifically could solve some IMO geometry problems, that only impacts 1 times 10 to the negative 8 students in the world percentage wise. As in, that is so minuscule to the more general case that math understanding is not furthered, it's actually retarded. As in, it's slowed solely because we get the answer and we don't know how to explain it. And so AI, if you look at calculators, and I said students don't really need a calculator until at least pre-calculus, and even then it's suspect. I think AI, you have to completely outlaw from any and all high school. And in college, you're definitely looking at major specific is when you start thinking about AI and things thereof. Because the hard truth is this: you have AI data centers, they're power hungry, they're also water hungry, and it's stressing the national electric grid right now. You have the fact that quantum computing isn't going all that well right now. It's not mainstream yet. You have the fact that RISC chips like ARM, their cost per unit is going up. And so people like myself and others, we're actually looking at Raspberry Pis and revisiting distributive computing just so we can lower our costs, because I don't know about you, but electricity is pricey these days. So the two things I will say is, yes, AI is a tool, but it is very much like a ball peen hammer. It's not elegant, and it will not be elegant for a while. And I think all of these doomsayers about AI is going to take over everything, eventually, yes, but it's going to be at a slower rate because of the simple principle of garbage in, garbage out. I agree with Mr. Cromwell from the viewpoint of the fact that it, frankly, is a flash in the pan compared to maintaining and furthering both understanding and rigor of our discipline. I myself start grad school Monday in mathematics. And I'm going into this with my eyes very wide open because I don't want to just compute math and therefore say, hey, because I compute, I know. That's a lie. That is knowing of something, not knowing something. Instead, I really want to dig in to the nuts and bolts of math, and that is what's going to help me not only further appreciate this beautiful subject, but also directly confront organizations like the National Council of Teacher of Mathematics, like the American Mathematical Society, that have this very social take on mathematics, instead of realizing that mathematics is both beautiful and utilitarian at the same time. My advice to anyone that sees this, it really comes down to these points. First point is, as President Reagan said a long time ago with nuclear power, the same statement applies with AI and math, and that is trust but verify. That's the first thing. If AI can give you an answer, and then you can step away from that, and you can actually derive how that answer was arrived and can prove it's correct, accurate, and precise. Now you've learned. Because now when you take a test or you get out and do an engineering problem or whatnot, you now have something to stand on. Because you no longer just throw a formula at something, you can explain it to people that are not mathematical. You are able to say, hey, here's why this condition occurs. That's the first thing. The second thing is if you're a teacher, at what grade level you teach really should determine what your technological cost should be. And more teachers are coming out saying, we're doing away with Chromebooks, we're bringing back pencil and paper, we're getting better results. So the smart teachers know what's up. The administrators and bureaucrats, however, we'll see. We'll see. But then the last thing, and that is, you can make mathematics more approachable when you have better foundations. And so this is where we got to re-examine curricula. We need to raise the standard. And now when you raise the standard and the aptitude and the skills gain, when you integrate cognitive science like they are in the UK compared to the United States, then problems like this one, where it's between this and some 11 by 14 sheets and calculating how much it is per square inch, because I'm all about the square inch when it comes to doing math, I can now comfortably calculate that without need for electronic assistance. Here's a real world problem at Walmart. Here's a real world problem. And I had to calculate what is the better bang for buck. The answer, by the way, is this: by a third. It's a third more advantageous, even with the $9.95 of shipping I would have to pay. This is real life math. And that way, Cashiers can do change, shopkeepers can do invoices, and now because they have a foundation, now the electronic aids make a lot more sense. Right now, AI is not making enough sense to justify use, nor is it really the way to better cognitive learning. So that's my take on AI and math. I am looking forward to filming some more videos before I head to England, good Lord willing. Apologize for being away, but we're back and looking forward to interacting with all of you. So as always, take care of yourselves, take care of one another. God bless. We'll see you next time.